Right, so I just wanted to show you this blueprint based procedural bridge tool that I've been working on. I was using this for myself, but I thought somebody out there might require it, might find useful. So yeah, so let's just get started. So when you get this tool, you basically just drag one of this BP underscore procedural wooden. This is basically a wooden bridge that can be used in your games, can be used to connect islands and other stuff. So the first thing you want to do is basically move this wherever you like. So let's start here and then basically select the endpoint. The endpoint is where if you drag, the bridge will create itself. And note that this is using HISM, the hierarchical instance static meshes. So its performance, it doesn't impact the performance that much, and you can basically keep dragging it. I don't know, maybe infinitely, but I haven't tested that. So as you see, like as you drag, this gets created, and you can see there are planks, wooden planks. There's basically railings, and then stands on the side for the railings. Now the other thing, so once you do that, let me move this, let me widen this up. Forget about the board settings, the details. So when you look into the details, there are two things I want you to look into. One is the procedural bridge base. So this is where the base settings are for you, and you can change them, tweak them, and make every bridge look different. The other one is specifically for the wood bridge. While this package is only for the wood bridge, there is also a bonus thing that I've added. I'll show you that later, but right now let's just focus on working on the procedural bridge base settings. So the first thing you want to do is basically, once you look into the plank meshes, these are the different kinds of plank meshes. I've given three different kinds of plank meshes, and you can use all three of them, one of them, or just basically mix and match any way you like. So for example, let's start by default all three are added. So for now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this one, and I'm going to remove this one. So as you see, what is left is just like blank planks without the handles on the side. So this is one of the meshes that I've provided without that. If somebody wants to create some kind of a platform or something in a wooden form, and obviously the railings do not make sense at this point, so you can go ahead and remove the railings. So this is one kind of a bridge that you can build. You can use it just as a platform. Maybe you're building a side platform or something, and it's pretty useful. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch back the railing on, and I'm going to add a new element to it. Now when I add a new element, you could see like how it is blank, like it skips each of them. So this is another effect you can achieve by just adding a empty mesh, like an empty placeholder for the plank. And if you want more, well, there are other variables to do that, so let's not try doing that. But for now, what you could do is you could just basically go in and look for sm underscore plank. So I think we have the plank 3 inside already, so we'll start with plank 2. So I'm just going to add plank 2. So as you see, if I add plank 2, you would see like it has like side support for the railings. So now this gives you a very different look and how the bridge looks like. Now I can add another one, so let's just go ahead and add the third one, and let's pick up sm underscore plank base 01, and you could see like there is a different one. Now this one doesn't have a side it has a side support, but it doesn't have the what do you call basically the metal piece on the wood that holds the bar. The bar is directly going inside the wood. So that's some different variation I wanted to add to the design. Now going forward, let's look into the materials. So right now there's only one material, but you can add multiple materials, and basically what it does is it gives you a different kind of a feel. Like basically it changes it's just basically bringing some variation to the bridge itself, so it doesn't look like it's just copy pasted or it's basically generated by computer. So let's add another material to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and add another material, and I'm just going to write ml underscore, I think it's not ml, but mi, sorry, for wood. And I'm just going to use, let's say, an alternative wooden material. I've given 3 materials, so you can use all 3 of them, or 2 as you choose like. So I'm just going to add another one. Oh, funny thing, I just used the same material, so that's why there's no difference. So anyway, I'm going to just add, let's say, a darker material. So once I add a darker material, you'll see like this gets replaced by the darker material. Now, one thing you got to do is like to have it random. You gotta to make it update, the material update. The one thing you got to do is basically move the endpoint, or basically just move the bridge itself so that it just kicks in the construction script again. So now you could see like you have this more stylized look, wooden feel, kind of a different texture from the planks, from the other planks. So there is kind of a variation added to it. Now I'm going to add another one that I added. I made that. I think it's called mi underscore wood. I think alternative is there. Base is, I think it's the base. It looks like the base. Well, the base and the alternative is not that different, but you can always go inside and tweak them. So, but anyway, this gives a very nice break. Like it breaks the pattern, makes it look like more natural, more realistic. So that's the plank materials. Now, the endpoint, obviously you can set the endpoint right from here. You could set it to whatever you want, or you could just drag it in the viewport itself. For now, and yeah, so that's basically just the endpoint. Okay, so the next thing. So the next thing is basically enabling sequential. So for some reason, like I like this idea of like defining how the planks would be arranged. For example, first would be the one without the support bar. The second two would be with the support bar, and the third one would be without the metal handlers, something like that. So if you place it in if you enable sequential, what will happen is, so the way you place your plank meshes, the order of 0, 1, 2, they will basically repeat it like that. They will come in like 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, and it'll be in an orderly fashion. But sometimes you want like more randomized stuff. So what you do is you just disable sequential. And once you disable sequential, what will happen is like you could see like there are like 3 support pillars on this side, maybe 1 on that side, and then 3 on that side. So what is happening is it keeps it random, but what it also does is it also keeps it uniform across the bridge, because you want like stable. You don't want the design to break on the left and the right side of the railing. So basically what it is doing is like you could see like it's randomly placing these planks, the 3 different meshes that we selected earlier, so to give it a different kind of a look. So if you like random, you want some randomness, just disable sequential. I personally like sequential because it feels nice and uniform. Okay, so the random stream valve is just a seed that you give. So you can change the seed and you can basically see how you can generate a new bridge, like you just change the seed and a new design of the bridge will appear. So after that is the plank rotation. So the plank rotation is kind of obvious. So it goes from 0 to 1 because I don't want to give like crazy rotation, but like even at like points 1, like the rotation becomes a little crazy. So I'll like to keep it at 0.5. So it's basically what it is doing is this variable is giving a random rotation to these planks, so that it doesn't look like it's in a straight order. Well, if you do 0, then you can basically get everything in like in a straight line, which is not that realistic. So basically, you could just give it at 0.5, and you'll be able to get that going from there. Okay, so let's move on to the global scale. Well, it was called plank size before, but I think global scale makes more sense. Well, the global scale is also up there, but basically what I've done is like I wanted to give an initial value of the global scale so that it basically fits there's a default starting size somewhere basically. So you can change the global scale. So if you want to change the size of this the bridge, you can basically go in and change this instead of actually changing the transform. This just helps me keep it more like where I would like it to be, and it's just easier this way because it helps me to calculate some transforms for each flank and then keep it same and not go beyond a certain value or actually below a certain value. That's why I provide another global scale. So after that, okay, so the flank offset. So flank offset is basically, if you start cranking it up, you realize the space between each, as it says, it's an offset. So it's basically how much distance between each flank. So maybe you want to create some, like a field like this, which is like mostly broken bridge, the flanks are missing, something like that. If you want to create that, you can choose the offset. If you don't want any offset, you can basically do it 0, and then you're basically done with that. And I also like to do another seed on it, just to give a bit more variation. Okay. Now this banking level is interesting, but before we actually go to the banking level, it doesn't really make sense if the bridge is basically flat. There's no banking involved. And I'll come back to the banking level. Let's just go to bridge hang first. Okay, so bridge hang is the last one, this one. So the bridge hang is basically how much do you want the bridge to hang. Let me show you that. So let's push this bridge right here, and let's duplicate this and create another one at the end. Okay, now so there's an interesting thing with the bridge hang. Let's try that. Let's try increasing the bridge hang and see what it does. So it basically bends the bridge and makes it hang, kind of a thing. Just as bridges, they hang, right? So for a positive value of 30 or 40, let's say, 30 is pretty good. Okay, let's start with 30. Let's try this. I'm just quickly gonna change my game mode to basically a third person. Well, to do that, I have to first go in, and you know what? Let's just play like that. Okay, so we're gonna play in like studio mode. Okay, so game-based mode. Okay, so you see like how the bridge is basically hanging down and comes back up. So this is what the hang does. Now you could hang it even in the negative direction. If you do that, it just goes up. So that'll be an overhead bridge. So you might have a lake going inside, like from the bottom you can have a lake going in, or some kind of tunnel or something, and then you can have a bridge going on top of it. So this is what you do. And obviously, like, left a gap there, so what you can do is just come here and drag the endpoint out a little further, and then have this sit down here. So as you please. Okay, so this is now hopefully you understand the bridge hang. Now let's move further. So let's go back to banking level. Since it made no sense for a flat bridge to have a banking level. What this banking level does is, like, if you look carefully, you can see how the planks are being rotated in the direction. They're basically facing towards the direction of how the bridge goes. I think that's how bridges are, basically. But what if you want to create more like a step bridge, where it's more flat and each step is, you just take a step and you go up and you come down. So let me show what I mean. So for a banking level of 1, they will follow the direction of the bridge. But if you move it to 0, or like let's just say 0. So if you move it to 0, you could see like how each flank is more like a stair or a step, and then you take a step and then you come down. So this can be some kind of, if you like to create a step looking feel for your bridge, you could basically use that. I like both, it just depends on what I'm using. So I'm just going to keep the banking level to 1 for now. So, okay, moving on. Next is the blank skip percent. This is basically a percentage of how much you want the blanks to skip. So sometimes you want like a few blanks and you want to remove them. So what you do is you just basically crank this up. So I think this is too much. This is like, let's say it's like 5%. So 5% of the bridge would go away. And then obviously if you keep going, it's like 65% of the bridge is gone, which is like useless. So I usually like to keep it like at 1%, or maybe at 1 is too small for this. Maybe like 2 or 3, maybe 4. Well, yeah, 4 is too low, I think. 10 is good. Yeah, so 10 is good. 10%. Obviously 10% of the number of flags we have is small, so that's why you can see like 1 or 2 flags gone. So this gives you like an effect where like, oh, one of the blacks is actually missing, or it's broken, or it's fallen down. You can create some kind of effect like that. So let's just reset that back. Now this bridge curve. Now this is a bridge curve is used to curve the bridge, obviously, as it says. So let me show how it actually works. To do that, let's just move the endpoint towards this side. So when you do that, you see how the bridge basically tries to curve itself, and tries to bend around, not just like hang, but also like curve around and go down. That's some kind of effect you want. If you like to have curves on your bridges, you can do that. But if you want more control on the curve, you can basically increase this. So if you don't like this too much curve, you can basically push it down, and you can decrease the amount of curve you want. But it's basically just balancing the amount of curve you want. This is just, it's an offset, like helps you limit the amount of curve you have, because the curve will actually depend upon where you put your endpoint. So if your endpoint is like this, and you're building something like this, obviously if it's longer, and you have something like this, so, and then you can use this to see like how far can you go, or you just want to limit it. So it's basically like, this is like extreme, but I don't want that much, so I want like a curve of like 5 or maybe 6 is pretty good. And then obviously you can move this back, and then so you have something like this. Like it's just basically not getting too crazy on the curves. That just helps you do that. Okay, so now let's move on to the wood bridge. So the wood bridge is a special bridge that has a railing on it. You can create other kinds of bridges if you want to extend my base. Basically, so you can find that one. And this one is the wooden one, where if you go inside blueprints, you can find the base bridge, and you can extend a blueprint, create a child blueprint class from it. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to talk about, let's just bring the curve back to 0, and then like, let's just move this back. Okay, so that's pretty good. The other thing, okay, before that, let's actually talk about bridge hang first before we go to the railing. I'm going to bring the hang back to 0, and I'm going to straighten this up. So now you see, like, this is, when you do a hang of 0, it becomes a straight, kind of a straight bridge, which is what we wanted. Now whenever you put a value in the bridge hang, anything apart from 0.0, so basically anything apart from 0, for example, let's just put 0.1. So the moment you put 0.1, you'll see like there's an extra point added in the middle of the bridge. That basically helps you curve the bridge a little bit. It enables you to move the endpoint so that you can basically curve it. So whenever you want something like this and you want to curve it, what you do is you just add any value to the bridge hang. I recommend you keeping it small, like 0.1, and then you can move around the endpoint and you can create this basic curve around. And obviously you can control the curve again from the bridge curve itself, like how much you want to curve. That's some crazy curve, but like that one looks pretty good. So when you play, you can see like how the bridge is now curving. Yeah. Now, the other thing you could do is like, for example, let's just put this one here. Let's just drag another one into the scene. So I'm going to drag another one into the scene. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this, and then I'm going to move this a little bit up. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a hang of 0.1 just to increase, like just to put that little curve and an extra point in there. Now what we do is, what I want to show is basically, what if you take the endpoint now and then you move it up? So it gives you something like this. So this is an interesting effect. Like obviously the hang is used to hang the bridge in the center and like droop it down or droop it up. But what if you wanted to create something from the bottom to, let's say you had a mountain up there, or like something at the top. For example, I'll just duplicate this. For example, you have a bridge that takes you up there. Now, to create something like this to go up there, you could use what I did. I just created a simple straight bridge, then change the hang to 0.1 and just drag the endpoint up there. Now to make it more interesting, what you could do is you could go in and set the banking level to a little less, so it more looks like a staircase. So in fact, you could just use this tool to create staircases if you like, and then you can move around this. So you could basically go in and go down. You could have your character step on it and just move around. So, or you could go up. You could use the wall to go down. So that was one other interesting way of using this tool. not just to create bridges, but also to create something like a staircase. Yeah. Okay, so let's just talk about the railing section now. So let's just start with this one. So, for example, so in our railing section, there's only two basic components. It's like switching in. So first one is the on and off. So if you like, you don't want a railing, you could basically just switch it off, and you could switch it on if you like it. By default, it's on, and I like it that way. So the other one is the railing offset. So if you don't like where the railing is positioned, you basically just move them up and down, move them left and right. For example, if you want to move the left railing up and down, you could just use the left one, and then so I like it like this, something like this, and then this one also you can move it up and down like that. So that gives a pretty nice feeling. So, and if you don't like, you can even change how it's intersecting and how it's positioned like left and right. So now let's come to this one. Now you see the railing is basically not getting aligned properly because of the big curve that we have here, like the big curve going on, and since our backing is almost zero, because it's more like a staircase feel. So what I would like to do is like I'd like to move the railings a bit down, more like this, and then move this bit down too. And then, I mean, you can just play around with it the way you feel like it's good for you. Sorry, the wrong one. Yeah, maybe like that. Yeah, this one looks good. So now if you see like, this basically gives you a nice feel and railing feel to it. The other thing I would like to do with this one is like, the step is pretty cool, but I'll just move it here and copy another one. What I like to do personally would be to actually give it a banking and then move the railings back up a little bit. Just my own preference. It's just me just playing around with different bridges. You could do it if you like. So, for example, in this case, like the railing just basically goes along with it. In that case, it bends a slight more because of the curve and because of the banking. It has to play well with both of them. So yeah, so that's the bridge tool. You can create different variations. I've given you blueprint, the basic blueprint, and the actual wooden bridge blueprint, and you can play around with it. I can show you inside the blueprint quickly. Let me quickly do that. Okay, so let's see. So that's pretty much that's what creates the instances, and mostly these are like hierarchical instance static meshes, so they do not interfere with the performance that much. Even though these days I think there is like an auto instancing coming up in I think 4.22, but still I've seen the performance pretty good with HISMs for now. It's basically just a bunch of things, and pretty easy to understand, commented properly. So this is the base bridge, and then we have something called procedural wooden, which basically is just extra like construction script from the parent is executed, and then what I would like to do is do mostly the railing part in here and give that. Okay, so that was my procedural bridge tool. One bonus thing that I actually added, so let's actually go inside some of the maps that I designed so that you can see what is going on. So let's just start with the simple bridge. So let's show you some demo scenes. So you can open this one from, let's say, maps, and this one is the bridge test map. So this is basically just me getting crazy with the bridge tool and seeing what is possible and what can we do with it, and just having fun with it. So I'm just going to quickly play this. So for example, you could go around build curved bridges, you could go around doing this, you could have these bridges, or you could, oh, cool. So that was basically just physics balls rolling down the bridge. So if you want that, they're all physically enabled collision, part blank collision, so each one of them will behave properly. So you could have physics balls roll down or other objects roll down. So, and then this, I went crazy with this and I wanted to see like how far can I go with this bridge. So I just created this infinite staircase bridge kind of a thing. It's not infinite, but it's like really big, and all these instances are basically hierarchical instances, so again the performance is pretty good. And then again I tried with both the sides, both hang like positive and negative, drooping up bridge or drooping down, and then you can see how nicely this plays well. And then the ball also basically can roll around, you can keep going, you can push the ball around. So this is just a demo map that I was just testing out the features. You can open it. So for example, if you see something like that and you don't like it and you don't like the offset, you just basically set the offset back. Then you can play around with that. So that was that. And the other one that I want to see is the demo scene. Now this one is a little heavy scene, so this. Okay, so we have the demo scene open here now. Finally, after a while. As you can see, I created this nice, it's a small, very small landscape. It's basically just 10 by 10 by 10, just to show the demo of how bridges can be used and can be used in your scene, and how it can just add to your scene as one of the elements. Okay, so to get started, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to change the game mode to third person, so we could actually have. Okay, and then we're just gonna jump into the game and see how it looks like. Okay, so as you see, like this bridge just adds the feel to the scene itself. Nicely blends into the scene. This is just a demo scene I added, so that you guys can play around and see for yourself how this can be used as an example. So just a demo scene. Now, obviously this is, as I said, this is still procedural. You can still manipulate the endpoints. You can, whatever we did in the earlier, you could basically just do it in the scene and change the way, the feel, how it looks like. So what I'm going to do is basically, the hang is way too much, so I'm just going to decrease this one and then like make it look like it's rather than going there. But obviously it's going into the stones, we don't want that. The rocks, probably like that. So looks okay. You can play around with that. And then obviously, as I said, this is all physics enabled, so you can see the ball throwing around. You can push the ball onto the bridge. It's gonna go down. So it's just a nice way of showing how this tool can be used to create different kind of bridges. And well, this is nothing. I just created this as a I was just doing some experiments and some painting tutorials, basically texturing tutorials. So I just created this nice covered thing. It's just, I just put it there. You can use it if you want it. It's just free. Okay. So yeah, so I like this. You can download the tool from the Unreal Marketplace, and don't forget to give feedback. Thank you.